Okay, welcome back. I would like to reconvene to order this regularly scheduled meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. And I would request council to report out on the closed session.
Thank you, President Jones. The board met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 to meet with the designated representatives concerning the fire chief's contract. No action was taken. The board also met pursuant to that same code section with the district negotiator, Fire Chief Henke, with respect to compensation of safety and non-safety senior management, and unrepresented confidential employees. No action was taken.
All right, and at this time, the chair would like to take prerogative to move action item number 5 to the front of our list.
Madam Chair?
Sir.
You need a motion on this? I would be pleased to represent the board and make the motion that we approve this employment agreement. And again, I don't think it can be overstated, the appreciation of this board and the fire chief and its executive management in the way that they have met the requirements of the current financial situation that we're dealing with, and we are very appreciative of their efforts in this.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second for
approval
of the employment agreement with the fire chief? Second by Director Pearson. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? Oh, I'm sorry, counsel?
Yes, for the record, it needs to be stated that the vote on the approval of the contract contains a minor modification set forth on page 54 of the agenda, paragraph 6, subpart A, lines 4 through 6, will read, fire chief may carry over a maximum of 20 months accrued and unused leave into the next calendar year, which change will be made by the clerk in the event of approval of the contract.
All right.
Ms. Chairman, as the maker of the motion, I accept those amendments.
And so does the second. Thank you very much counsel. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Newcomer.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you all very much, and congratulations, Chief Henke. All right, moving to action item listed as number 1, bid award FB 11-34, ground remote control robot. Chief Cockrum. Now, I thought you'd have a little robo come up and talk to us.
I haven't quite built yet. Directors, President Jones, Chief Henke, thank you for having me. Before I start, I'll say that through the power of Twitter, we already have News 10 out with firefighter Thompson and his K9 partner out doing a story. So thanks to our local media for following us and for following us on our positive stories that we have. And I'll get into the ground robot. So this is a bid award for remote control robot for a hazardous materials team. Sacramento Metro Fire District operates a hazmat unit made up of district personnel that are deployed to incidents required the identification of hazardous materials, often in unknown and hazardous environments. Sacramento Metro works in cooperation with Sacramento City Fire and Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, on a variety of all hazard incidents to include issues of foreign and domestic terrorism. Metro Fire has worked with the above-named agencies and identified gaps in the regional availability of unmanned robots, their current capabilities, and the available modern technology that's available today. The robot Metro decided on is designed for ease of transport, rapid deployment into an unknown environment, and the robot is designed to provide valuable visual and audible signals back to the operator's remote control device that he carries. Staff is requesting authorization to award a bid to the vendor selected through a request of formal bid process. The bid process was published on the district website October 21st, 2011, ran through December 19th, 2011. A public notice was published in the legal section of the Sacramento Bee on October 30th, ran through November 30th. The bid request criteria the hazmat team needed to have in regard to the robot capabilities. So we chose one. The district received 3 responses. We chose Macro USA for $37,114. We had another bid from Robotech, which I called and talked to them personally. Theirs actually didn't meet all the capabilities that we were looking for. And TL Links ANTS was obviously much higher, had some other capabilities that weren't suitable for our needs. This is basically a SHISCAP grant, came out of 2010 SHISCAP money. Some unencumbered funds were used, and we actually purchased 4 different robots through the region. All 4 robots have slightly different characteristics and capabilities, which kind of get us to do several different things. So all the way from a large bomb robot that really has difficulty moving and maneuvering in small rooms, but can do other things like break down doors and shoot bombs and that sort of things, all the way down to a small one that we have that we basically can rapidly deploy into a building, into an enclosed environment, has 5 different cameras on it, infrared, sound. We can rapidly deploy it, get a look inside, see what's going on before we commit any personnel inside the facility or inside the confined space. We're recommending purchase.
Excellent. Questions, comments? Board members, let's start from this side of the room and we'll just go all the way around. Thank you.
I was wondering, you know, the $80,000 one, I mean, why, I mean, they were kind of in the same category, weren't they? I mean, but why was it
Yeah,
that much?
it had some additional technology on it, like the ability to hear signals through walls, and had like a radio wave that would reach through walls. It did just a bunch of other things that they thought were, you know, something that we needed.
Right.
And they were things that we didn't feel like we needed. We really wanted something that was just rapidly deployed. We can just put it out, run it in, get a look, see what's going on. We can put some monitors on it. Theirs had a different arm on it that would grab and maneuver things. This one that we have has an arm on it, but it can do more limited stuff. So,
Okay.
with the 4 robots that we have, we feel like we cover each category of what we need. They're all regional use robots, so we're able to call for them as we need them. So they can call for us in the city, the sheriff's department, city police department call for us. We'll take them out and use ours to get rapid deployment and into areas that are confined, and they'll bring their bigger one to us if we need that.
Okay, thank you. And also, are these guys from Macro USA, are they in California, or where are they from?
Yeah, they're actually at McClellan, right near the Coast Guard
Oh,
building.
good. All right, perfect.
They make them, they're a company, they've
They're
got
local, good.
several hundred of them deployed with the U.S. Army.
Very good, thank you.
Great advertisement there. Next in line would be Director, okay, Director Newcomb? Director Orzale?
How frequently would you guess that we're going to be able to utilize this piece of equipment?
Yeah, we go on about 100 hazmat calls a year. I'm going to say that I'm hoping that we can deploy it on hazmat incidents at least 20 or 30 times. It's not going to be a lot. Depends on if we get some other requests for outside agencies. But what I wanted to see our hazmat team do is deploy it pretty quickly, get it out, get a look. It's 110 degrees and we're putting on these big plastic suits and going in. That's pretty dangerous. So about that. We also have it used for confined space. I had a recent incident about 6 months ago where we had a sewer cover that was ajar and a rope that went down inside the hole, and some kids that were seen in the area, and unknown whether or not they were still there or in the hole or if they had been injured in the hole. So if we could have came and deployed that into the hole real quick, ran it down, we wouldn't have had to go through the whole confined space entry permit process on that, taking 5 or 10 minutes rather than the hour that it took us to get there. So those kinds of incidents are what we're anticipating using it on.
Thank you.
Director Gould?
Madam Chair, thank you. I think what I'm hearing you tell us, Chief, is that there were 2 responsive bids, and that you selected the most fiscally responsible or lowest bid that was responsive. Because it sounded to me like what you said is that Robotech was not a responsive bid.
They believed that they were.
But it doesn't matter what they think. It's what you are testifying is that if somebody was to look at this later on and say, why didn't you go with the $21,000?
Right.
It's because they weren't responsive. You went with the most fiscally conservative, most responsive vendor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I thought you said.
Thank you.
Director Monk?
Chief,
Yes.
bear with me for a minute. We already have a robot.
on the hazmat
Talking
unit.
about me?
Well, no, you're a workaholic. There's a difference between a workaholic and a robot.
Model.
On the hazmat unit, we already have a robot, don't we?
No, sir.
Okay. And this is being funded through Homeland Security anyway, so it really costs us nothing.
Process.
And the bottom line is that the use of this robot not only is expeditious, but it also really protects the safety of our personnel.
Absolutely, and you know, truth is that we're on the forefront of this, and we believe that, you know, I've always believed that we're smarter than the cops out there, and that they have had their bomb robots for years, and they don't send people downrange and put them in dangerous environments, yet we still put people in plastic suits and done exactly that. So we're trying to mitigate that, and we felt this was a first step for that. This is a technology that's progressing, and all these robot companies are very interested in building their business in this.
The final thing is I want to give you kudos for willing to work with the other agencies so that we can provide this in a regional approach, because not everybody can afford all the toys out there that we need to do the jobs that we can do. And if we can get together all of the agencies, law enforcement and fire, to be able to provide that equipment that our people need in the safest possible manner, it's a good investment. So, thank you.
Excellent points, Director Monk, as well as Chief Cochran. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Who was the second?
Oh, we'll give it to Director Clark. Next time we'll go to Jack.
Director Monk.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Barzali.
Aye.
Newcomer.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Chief. Next item, number 2, bid award FB 11-40, structural firefighting boots. Chief Wagner. Welcome.
Hello, directors. John Wagner, Director of Training, Assistant Chief for Metro Fire. I'm here to discuss our structural firefighting boots that we came up with for purchase. They are not for the robot. They may be adapted later. They are for our firefighting workforce. We have a PPE team that has been working on this for several years that have gone out and with the attempt to go with NFPA standards, do a test on boots to find out what the most durable, safe, and proficient boot would be for our current working members for Metro Fire. With that came 3 specific boots that they were looking for that met all those standards out of approximately 7 to 8 total that were looked at. We're asking the board for authorization. This will not be a one-time cost. In our discussion and thought process is that this is going to go over a long-term period, and the bid went out for a 3-year period with 2 single 1-year extensions. So the duration of this and what we're asking for would be authorization for a total funding that would exceed the $35,000 for policy. So with that, let me explain that these structured boots were chosen by that committee. These boots are replacing what we currently have as our standard as rubber boots. The rubber boots that we currently purchase is for all of our agency determined by this wear test committee as being substandard in modern day firefighting. The other issue with it is that over a longer period of time, these leather boots can last up to 5 to 8 times as long as the rubber boots that cost approximately $140 compared to the $259 to $293 per pair. They can also be, the leather boots can also be resold at any time, which costs us significantly less for each individual. Over a long period of time, we will be saving a substantial amount of money by going this route as recommendation from the committee. With that, the leather boots were found to wear longer. The boots tested were chosen and published for formal bid for approximately a little less than 3 weeks. The district received bids of 3 vendors. Those vendors, as you'll see, Municipal Emergency Services, All-Star Fire Equipment, L.N. Curtis, which are all West Coast bids. Staff contacted the manufacturers of each of these boots and found out that each of the vendors were the sole source distributor of each boot. Boots are a little bit crazy out there, and especially fire equipment. It's a little difficult at times to find an all-star Walmart, if you will, for all the things that we are looking for in the fire service. The physical impact, these outgoing purchases are budgeted each year. We have roughly $32,000 within this current budget for boots that are being issued, and again, this will be as a on-needed basis. We are not going out there and replacing all boots at one time. This is for when firefighters wear them out and need replacement boots on an ongoing basis, which estimates that we could, in essence, over the 3-year period, go over that $35,000 amount that's in our current policy. So with your recommendation and authorization as a board, we would like to put forward the grant approval, or excuse me, grant approval would be fantastic. I don't know why I thought about that. That was my last trip up here, was grant approval. Is for your authorization to go with the vendors that have put forth bids on our turnout boots.
Question, Director Scheidegger?
Chief Wagner, good report, and I appreciate the work that your committee did in terms of determining the preferential decision in terms of leather versus rubber. Just a quick question, is there maintenance requirements for leather boots that supersede those for rubber boots? Are we going to be facing a different maintenance factor?
Typically, no, and what you'll get on the leather boot and what they've found from additional wear, and in fact, I don't want to point him out too much, but we have a captain in the audience that is going on his 8th year of a resoled boot. So those maintenance are very low as it relates to the rubber boots. And historically, the rubber boots definitely wear on the tread longer. They cannot be resoled, and they're not as durable, especially when it comes to UV rays and that type of situation.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Director Monk?
Chief, one thing I didn't see in your summary here is ANSI approval. Are the leather boots ANSI approved or the standard for structural firefighting boots?
That I would have to refer to, Chief Taylor was originally on the committee. I'd have to refer back to the committee on the ANSI approval. I believe it was NFPA standard 1701 that we were going after.
So it is ANSI approved.
It's NFPA approved. Nothing about an ANSI approval on it.
Okay, thank you.
Director Gould?
Chief, thanks for that report. Can you just describe for me, it looks like we've got at least 2 different costs. Are you saying that when it comes time to repair or replace the boot, that there'll be some type of an option that will be provided? You can go with the 259 version or the 293 version, and so that number will be fluctuating depending on the need of the firefighter?
Yes, sir, that's correct. So as a district, when I budget for it, it will be an average of that, but we have to have
But
the
that's
different
your
varieties because of feet and
Sure.
different feet.
And then the other thing, is there any way that these vendors would be open to allowing some of our sister fire departments to tap into the same cost savings? I'm thinking about, for instance, organizations that don't have near the size of the number of individuals that we do, and maybe they can piggyback on top of this. Have you had any kind of conversation with these vendors to say, if I have another regional fire department that doesn't have near the number of people, can they get this cost? I'm assuming that this number was based on the fact that we have 500 firefighters and that's going to be a much bigger need than maybe a smaller department might have. And I'm thinking particularly about some of the very small departments that just would have to pay premium dollar for something like this. Has that ever been talked about with these vendors?
I can't speculate what those vendors thought when they put that price tag to it, if it was the mass amounts that they could be seeing over the next 3 years, so I'd just be speculating to that.
I'd like to see us talk about those things in the future, because there's a lot of these agencies in our region that simply don't have 500 firefighters, and if these vendors can, like when we buy our fire trucks, sometimes we get to piggyback off contracts that other agencies have, and it'd be nice if we started to become the agency that they piggyback off. I think it puts us in a bigger, stronger position with vendors in the future.
I think we may be there as well, Director, based off of some of our tests that we've done with our own agency. We've been asked by outside agency as large as the fire department in New York and other areas of larger agencies that have asked us for our reports, and we've asked them for their reports. We're becoming some rapport with those agencies, as well as some of the smaller agencies are in our region. the vendors out there know who they are and they're closely associated with us. And if we do that, we've done that somewhat with apparatus. We have a Metro spec to an engine.
Right.
And somebody can ask for that. So we could go down that road, and we'll talk in the future to these vendors.
Yeah. I think it's good for our agency to have those kinds of relationships in the region.
Thank you, Director Gould. Are there any other questions or comments?
I make a motion.
Okay. A motion and second it. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Director Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Moving on to action item number 3, revisions to current board policies. We have Chief Wells giving a presentation on family and medical leave policy.
Good evening, directors. Tonight we met with the policy committee and we underwent a process as part of our workflow to change and amend the policies in our goal to address each one of the board policies every 2 years. And tonight we're proposing the family medical leave policy and also the equal employment opportunity policy tonight, and we're referring it to the full board for adoption. And they're in your packets. However, I would like to have a brief discussion on a change that we've made tonight at the policy committee level, which addressed only one small change in each one of these policies that wouldn't be reflected in your binder. And that would be under the definitions portion of the Family Medical Leave Act. Under the definitions, number 1, in employment protection, we just simply took out a qualified leave and we left it to be upon returning from leave. Because a qualified leave, and I have Melissa Maddox in the audience here, who's the HR manager, who is actually an expert in family medical leave. There's a variety of different consequences or meanings to the word qualified leave, and that is really up to the discretion of the treating physician. And so in order to quantify it appropriately, it's best to leave it out and just say when they return from leave. Because qualified leave, under the rest of the definitions, you have qualified family and medical conditions, you have qualified employees, and it's further defined. So the policy committee's direction was to take that one word out. It's literally to say, under definitions, employment protection, upon returning from leave, placing an employee in the same position. So that'd be a change to your packet.
It's a deletion of that single word, sir.
Excuse me?
Deletion of that single word, qualified.
It's actually 2 words. You have a qualified would be deleted, upon returning from leave.
Okay, thank you.
And outside of that, the rest of, and the intent of these policies is we've really streamlined them into a workable document that's all really out of the Labor Digest in California specifically, and others federal if they apply. We're streamlining them, simplifying them so that they're accurate, appropriate, and I think they're going to be much more usable for the employee and the administration. So tonight I'd like to, and let me point to one other, so does anybody have any questions at all on the FMLA?
And that was under item 10 on page 4 or 5?
It is on page 5 in your board packet.
Page 24 in your board packet. Yeah, I thought I have it on 24.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm referring to my policy committee.
First item that you mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the policy committee there.
24, item 1.
Yeah, under definitions, number 1, first line.
Okay.
Yeah. It should be upon returning from leave. And outside of that, the rest of any changes that were in here, there was a lot of stuff that was taken out, and anything that was actually new to the document is put in yellow for ease of read, and that's for the new policy guidelines. So any questions about FMLA? 'Cause I'd like to, when we adopt these, we'd move to adopt them both at the same time, if that's,
At the same time?
that's up to you,
Is that
however
okay?
you'd like to
Okay,
do
yeah,
it.
no, it's fine. I got the nod from the boss in the corner
Okay.
there. It's good.
So moving
All
on
right.
to the equal employment opportunity policy. We had one change on that one as well. And really all that was, and that's going to be on page, let me get on the right side for you guys. let's see here. It is on, under procedures, number 2. We're simply putting in basically a footnote on that in a MLA format, would just be a number 1 in parens, which would refer you down to the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because that's really where the definition of that comes from.
So like an asterisk to the note?
It'd just be like a
Footnote.
term paper. We'd have a reference to the first reference below. And so then
For the
the.
BFOQ comment?
Correct,
Bonafide
BFOQ.
occupational job qualification? Okay.
And that's not
Yeah.
reflected in our packet.
No, that would be a change from tonight's policy committee meeting, just one last amendment that the committee wanted to make. And then outside of that, the yellow all district employees was new language. Everything else was cleanup language that we actually took out of the policy to make it more appropriate to the current law. So,
Questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
so at this time, I'm just looking for a recommendation and an approval from the board on these 2 policies.
Was there a comment or a question? If not, Chair will entertain a motion. Oh, okay. First and second?
Second. Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll? You're so quiet.
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Barzali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief.
Chief Wells. All righty, we'll move on to our final action item, number 4, renewal of aircraft support contract with DynCorp. Chief Holbrook, welcome.
President Jones, member of the board, thank you. Staff brings before you tonight a renewal of the DynCorp contract, which is a maintenance contract for our 2 UH-1 Huey helicopters. The term of this contract is 23 months. We've actually, the previous contract expired December 31st. We did sign a 1-month extension to finish negotiations. Negotiations on this contract took actually over 6 months. Staff time was well spent, though, because I'm very happy to report that we actually came away with concessions from DynCorp to benefit the district. So I will keep it short and sweet. I do want to highlight something relative to the cost of the contract. There was a typographical error on the fiscal impact. The anticipated cost of the contract is $140,000 annually. The word annually was left off of there. If you could please, thank you very much, add that in. I will report to you that this cost is wholly budgeted for in the 11-12 budget, and we would request your approval for this proposal.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adopt staff's recommendation.
Second? And second by Director Pearson. And then we had a question from Director Newcomer.
Chief, on the same page you were just speaking of, we have current pricing summary of aircraft mechanic lead as follows. And then back on Exhibit C, we have a pricing summary.
That's correct, Director. You'll notice that it says the current pricing summary.
Yes.
We literally, no exaggeration, finished this negotiation on Friday. Due to the flexibility of your board clerk, we're able to finish the contract and then print it after the staff report. The current pricing today is as listed in the staff report. If you'll look on page 51 of your board packet, you will actually notice the price concessions that we were able to gain from DynCorp.
Or maybe that's what.
Significant amount. The only item that actually went up was double time rate, and that's a very specifically applied, it's only 4th of July, those very specific holidays. We actually have engineered a methodology to get around double time rate in this coming year. Literally, we will net from last year's expenditures about $15,000 a year back to the district from what this contract cost us last year. But that was a very good catch. Thank you, sir.
Are there any other questions or comments on this issue?
It's
Director
not
Kelly?
exactly, it's, overtime and double time aren't exactly 1.5 or twice the base hourly rate, and I believe that's because you're not including burden. The $64.99 an hour includes his burden, and the overtime rate and the double time rate doesn't reflect the burden, in case any of you are having a problem with the math like I did earlier today.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Directors Monk,
Aye.
Gould,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Newcomer,
Aye.
Scheidegger,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Pearson,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right. We've already had our fund presentation item earlier in the meeting, and we'll move on to the President's report. And as a few items. One is that on behalf of the board, I would like to let everyone know that we sent a condolence letter to the Cordova Parks and Recreation District due to their sudden, unexpected, and very tragic loss of Steve Ebert. So on behalf of the board, a letter has been sent with condolences. On a more upbeat is also to confirm that thank you letters are being sent to Steve Demers, as well as Dennis Murray within our own organization for their assistance to all of us on the redistricting effort. So those thank you letters are en route. And additionally, as president of the board, I will be attending the City of Rancho Cordova retreat this Monday and Tuesday, along with several members of staff, to participate in their leadership organization, and again, supporting the one of our major contract cities that Metro Fire serves. And I'm really looking forward to that. So that's where I'll be on Monday and Tuesday. I might not be able to pick up my phone. All right, that concludes my report. Fire Chief's report.
President Jones, Board of Directors. First off, the WebEx meetings continue very successfully. I had one the other day, really to touch bases with one of the shifts to update them on some stuff that they missed because of timing, and also to talk about the Guns and Hoses football game, which I'll get to, and the Fill the Boot that's coming up. We've had some glitches along the way, but those are now really down to very minimal, and it appears to be quite a success. Last week, we had the big kickoff project for the training needs analysis for the simulator with Elbit Systems, and we had a contingent from the State of Israel out here for Elbit Systems. They spent a week with us with a variety of regional partners from Sac City PD, Sac Sheriff, CAL FIRE, you name it. We had people from all over to put input, including Kelly MA, on how the simulator is it has to be filled with the information that can be provided from these different regional partners. It was a lot of work, but very, very successful. A note on that is that there is a resulting trip to the State of Israel, which will be attended by several staff members, Deputy Chief Aaron, Deputy Chief Holbrook, Assistant Chief Wagner, and Development Contracts, Larry Davis. I was scheduled to be there and was invited by the company. I will be unable to attend due to events that have arisen here at home in regards to Metro and some issues that need to be attended to. So I will remain here. They will go over there. They will have a full-blown simulation. That's where the only simulator exists, where the Israeli military will run a full exercise for them to do it. They will go through all the different types of studies in regards to how it's constructed, what we need to do here in the United States to make sure that we have a very efficient process. And that is all in the grant as part of the planning arrangement, so there's no cost to Metro Fire. It was part of the negotiated part of a grant to go over there. This is going to be the first simulator of its kind in the United States. We need to get it right. And I just want to publicly say, if anybody wants to refer to this as a junket, that is not exactly the nicest neighborhood to be in for a junket. It's a little hot in the Middle East right now, and this is an all business on the ground, I think, for 3 days. It takes 2 days to get there, 2 days to get back, and it's full of meetings and exercise that they're going to be doing, and they'll be coming home. So it's going to be a huge issue, and the partnerships that are starting to evolve of CAL FIRE and entities that didn't realize that this capability was going to be here. I've been asked to do a presentation for CAL FIRE up at their academy now, coming in February in regards to this whole project. It's just regional people are coming in from all over and state stakeholders. So it's going to be a big deal, and we're really happy. I appreciated being on the 18th at Station 111 with Supervisor McClashen and former Congressman Osi, and of course Roger Mitchell. They put on a great event. There was about 50 people there. It was very well attended. That Rio Linda community out there never ceases to amaze me. And you know, our own mechanics donate their time for restoring the apparatus, and I just really want to say thank you to Roger and the whole group out there. It was a great deal. That night I attended the League of Cities welcome reception. And then the next day on the 20th, we had the League of Cities Public Safety Policy Committee meeting. That's where Acting Secretary Mike Dayton talked about the breaking up in the governor's plan of CSTI out of San Luis Obispo. Needless to say, that committee is about 80 people of elected officials and public safety people. One of them's a mayor from down there in that region that was none too happy. But I can tell you that the overall attitude of the committee was this is the best way to do it, is to split this entity up and get it more regionalized in the north and the south. And clearly we're supportive of Secretary Dayton and the governor's plan and his proposal. We think it's good for California, it's good for the public safety services, and we will be working very closely with them on that. We met the other day with Troy Givens on from the county on our monthly update meeting, and that went very well. We also hosted the California Fire Chiefs Ops Section meeting at Metro yesterday, which Chief Holbrook ran. Upcoming events, tomorrow I have a standing meeting with City Manager Ted Gabler from here in Rancho Cordova. And then this Saturday on the 28th, as a reminder, Guns N' Hoses football game, 10th anniversary at Sac State, kickoff times at 1 p.m. Please come out and support. Tickets are through Pick, Barthel, Nagosic, Ross, Barclay, or Bakken. You can contact the Chief's office. We'll make sure that you get sent in the right direction. Those tickets are for charity. But we're really encouraging people to come out and the directors to come out. It's a good time. It's at Sac State, so I think we can fit more people. I remember last year you couldn't even get into the grandstands on the fire side of it. It was completely packed. I will definitely be there. They do have tailgating that starts the night before, where they have camping they have on the other side. So if you want to go over and visit with the fire and police families, they do barbecues for them and that. You're more than welcome to do that. They'd really like to see you over there. Also, as President Jones said on the 30th, I will be attending with staff and President Jones a Rancho Cordova City Council and Staff Learning Retreat. It's a 2-day retreat. I'll be there in the morning. However, I will be attending the Sac Metro Chamber 20th Annual State of the City Address, which we do, because that's pretty important with the regional partners to be there for that. So we'll also be attending that. And on the 31st, we have the Sacramento Regional Fire Emergency Communications meeting, which I'll be attending. New hires, I don't have any to report, but I do know to go to page 2. There's no retirements that I have to report and no promotions to report at the moment. However, on page 2, I'm proud to announce the recipients of Employee of the Year. Firefighter paramedic Tim Beard got the line award for Employee of the Year. For civilian was database technician Bryn Wren for support services. And warehouse supervisor, reserve firefighter Mark Siebert got Reserve Firefighter of the Year. So those 3 individuals should be very, very proud of themselves, and we have an annual event that we'll hold to honor them. And peer recognition award recipients went to the following people: Engineer Mike Angadi, Engineer Paramedic Eric House, Engineer Paramedic Daniel Hoy, Engineer Chuck Nicholas, Engineer Vince Elko, Captain Kevin Snyder, Electronics Tech Frank Rodriguez, and Warehouse Supervisor Mark Siebert. In this year's awards, congratulations to all of those people. It should be noted that you're going to see very rarely Medals of Valor or things like that. We are very tough on what we hand out for what people do on a daily basis. Some of these people I listed did some very, very tough acts, heroic acts. They were on duty, and so we want to award them for that because they went up and beyond. But the real top stuff will be for those people that are off duty. That's a very, very extreme circumstance, and that was agreed between labor and management to toughen it down. So all these people are worthy. We give our congratulations to them, and that's all I have to report tonight, except for the following. I'd like to say that in regards to moving this district forward on employment contracts and on contracts in general, it is definitely appreciated by me as your fire chief and the administration that we're going to be able to start to change the tone and set the standard for the future in addressing, as some of the directors have said, those tough economic times that we're facing. And I think the public will be much more pleased with the attentiveness, the clarity of where we're at and what we're trying to accomplish. So I appreciate your guys' vote of confidence tonight and look forward to the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. Do we have an Ops Chief report then? Welcome, Chief Holbrook.
President Joan, members of the board, thank you. Since we last met, Metro Fire has, for EMS, Metro Fire has been dispatched on 2,035 dispatches, of which 1,395 were transported. A transport rate, which really you want to track, of about 69%. AMR, our partner agency in the district, at the same time was dispatched 572 times, of which 443 of those were transports, a transport rate of 77%. I will note that our transport rate, Metro Fire's transport rate, has steadily increased over the last year with a lot of the EMS redesign practices that were implemented in that time period. At the same time, AMR's transport rate has always been consistently very high, and they've maintained that same level. Since the last time we met, there's been 19 structure fires in the district. That still statistically is a little bit high at 1.35 per day. But it's wintertime, and really that's, it's not, over the course of the year, that's really not out of line. Of note, you will notice in your board packet some of the press releases for those fires. Unfortunately, we are seeing the same things happen year in and year out. So a couple of them are caused completely preventable by candles. And literally we're looking at a full family displaced by those. Unfortunately, we also had a teenager severely burned. Again, statistically, it happens in the wintertime. He was refueling a generator in his garage to power his home. These things are not just reported to you here. At the same time, they're also noticed by the PIO staff who works actively. Literally, these press releases, the first one here goes out at 11:30 at night. Immediately, that goes out to get into the media to send that prevention message of please learn from this. Don't make the same mistakes again. And finally, I would like to invite you to Recruit Academy 11-2's graduation. That is February the 10th at the Crest Theater at 4 p.m. We have 22 candidates that will hopefully make it through the next week and be standing on the stage to earn the rank of probationary firefighter. Again, February 10th, 4 p.m. at the Crest Theater. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Holbrook. Okay, General Counsel's report.
No report.
Local 522 report. I believe we have Jeff Hickman. Welcome to the podium, Mr. Hickman.
Thanks, President Jones. Good to be here. Rest of the board, Chief Hinkie. Well, between Chief Hinkie and Chief Holbrook, you basically took my report right out of underneath me. So I got a few things. You may be aware that the reason I'm standing here is Local 522 is currently still going through an election process for our vice president, which will be representing the firefighters of Local 522 as it pertains to Metro Fire. So nominations have been tallied. We've got a race that's happening, and by the end of the month, we will have a new vice president. So until that time, either myself or Chuck Ingram will be representing the agency for 522. Reiterate the boot drive. Love to have you all there. This is our charity. You've got the dates of the 17th through the 20th. And once again, the guns and hoses. So Chief Hinkie hit that one good. I have been, I did talk to Chief Holbrook. There are some promotions will be made tomorrow, and I just want to state that we're very proud of those that are getting promoted tomorrow, some captain's promotions, but those will be made tomorrow, so the details will come forth. Thank you for approving leather boots. There isn't a firefighter out there that wears them that doesn't appreciate them. They definitely are the standard. They're more comfortable. They're couple things that Chief Wagner didn't state, they're lighter. They're far more comfortable. You can get more work at less effort, and they protect your feet just as well, and they last a lot longer. It's a fiscally sound move and definitely a safe move for us, so we appreciate that. The Employee of the Year Award was great. My Engineer Haas, is one of the peer recognitions. I threw a little shout out to him. He's definitely the best engineer out there. One thing that was mentioned, we're definitely by the fire chief. Labor is very supportive, hand-in-hand working with the operational team of this agency right now, and we very much appreciate the direction that it's going. It's where we all need to be. The strong leadership that you've got going underneath Chief Hinkie is definitely noticed by the firefighters out there. So the support that they've given us and that we give them, it's definitely a hand-in-hand relationship. And we've got our bumps, but it's all working where this agency needs to go. So I want to congratulate you on that. And I know it's been a long road to hoe working through the chief's salary. I'm glad you guys have worked through that. And from Local 522, we appreciate that. We know we're going into negotiations in this next year, and definitely set the standard and of the cooperative relationship that we've got going now. And we definitely appreciate that, and we looking forward to the senior staff salaries coming out too. So it's a place where we all need to be here, and we appreciate that. So unless anybody has any questions for me, that's my report.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Hickman. Thank you. All right, well, moving on to committee and delegate reports. Number one is the executive committee, and I would like to set a meeting for us, but I have a backup question here. For the, Ms. McFadden, could you, Farland, I'm sorry. I'm trying to decide where to put an executive committee meeting, and I'm thinking in between the finance committee meeting and a regular board meeting at our next time. And would that be amenable to the volume of content that we have anticipating for our next finance committee meeting? Oh, I'm so sorry to have put you on the spot here, but this. Okay. Well, if there's consensus with the executive committee, I would like to call for a meeting at 5:45 on February, whenever our next meeting is, 2 weeks from now. Is it the 9th? Thank you. I don't have that in front of me. February 9th at 5:45, and we will take up approval for the committee positions, as well as potential discussion for any necessity for any ad hoc committees for this next coming year. Council, is that all right? Yes. Thank you. It's always good to double check. All right, that concludes the executive committee report. Item number 2, Communications Center, JPA. I don't see Chief Ahrens here. Is there any significant report?
I don't know of any significant report unless Director Monk does. I think that we have the meeting coming up as I was talking about, and something should come out on that. Thank you.
Okay, and the next meeting here is scheduled for January 31st at 9 a.m. All right. California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA, Director Kelly?
Yes, the Fire Rescue Training, JPA, has a meeting scheduled for February 8th, but that has been, for the last 2 days, I've seen emails that's gonna push that, I believe, to the week of to the 24th. So we'll have a chance to meet prior to that, and I'll be able to update the group on the exact date of that meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. Finance Committee meeting. Thank you. We've had a preview from senior staff here, and we will be meeting February 9th, 5 o'clock in these quarters. Policy Committee.
The Policy Committee met this evening and reviewed two policies, family and medical leave and employment opportunities policies, and also a preliminary review of the workplace harassment policy. The next meeting will be February 23rd at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move on to board member questions and comments. I believe last time we started to my left, and we'll start to the right this time. Director Monk.
I had a couple things I wanted to bring up, but I'm going to pare it down to one. I've been an oversight on my part to bring it up, but on January 2nd, 2012, we had the passing of retired Fire Captain John Hopkins. He retired from Sac County Fire in '94. He started with Rancho Cordova, those remember back that far, in July of 1963. I worked with John at Station 64, Station 61. He was a very, very decent man. In fact, I want to read a part of his obituary out of the paper, and a very, very nice obituary was put in there. What it says is, he leaves many friends, or firefighter friends. John was a legend with the Sacramento County Fire, now Sacramento Metro Fire, mentoring many young firefighters who are reaching their own retirement age now. Go figure. He never asked anyone to do anything he wouldn't do himself, and generally, he did it first. He was an excellent fire ground commander, and he also leaves many friends from the Shriners, and he inspired loyalty and respect. You always knew where you stood with John. He was honest. And he leaves his family much too soon. We'll miss him. So that's all I have.
Yes, if you'd like, we could close with a moment of silence in recognition of
Please.
John's passing. All right, thank you. Director Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We started this evening off with a great example, as the chief mentioned, of how our men and women are out in the community every day doing things that they're not compensated for. And I think that really hits at the character of the men and women that are in this organization that go unsung. They, as the chief said, it's easy to attack somebody who goes on a daily basis and paid to be a hero, but this is heroes that are unpaid, as they leave their shift work and then go work in the community like you saw. And so kudos to every man and woman that's in our organization that does those things, and maybe not as high profile as it was said tonight, the Labrador. You know, I mean, if you're a coach or you're working Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or whatever it is, kudos to all of you, and thank you for being out in the community without your uniform on and doing those services. They don't go unnoticed. We know you're doing them. We just love to highlight them as often as we can. Thank you, Chief, for taking that time, or President Jones for figuring out that we need to see more of those kinds of things, because they really are the essence of who Metro is. In addition to that, I'd like to let the President know I'm interested in throwing my hat in to be the representative of the California Special Districts Association. And we're not sure if the Fire District Association is a subcomponent of that, but I'd be willing to throw my hat in to be that rep. That's all I have. Thank you.
Director Kelly?
Yes, I just, again, I wanted to reiterate the appreciation that I have for the sacrifices that the chief and senior staff have made to bring our compensation package for chief executives more into line with what the current reality of special district finances for the Metro present. It's an honor to be associated with guys that would take those types of steps, and I want to tell you how much I sincerely appreciate the move. I will attend this League of City, or the State of the City address tomorrow, my good friend Mayor Johnson, And I will attend the Pig Bowl on Saturday and root the dogs on. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kelly. Director Ozali?
Just like to make a note about the restructuring of the administrative staff. This is a landmark decision, a landmark piece of policy making that I would like to see us make note of key pieces of policy as the district is reinvented, so to speak. This is a great piece of work, and I appreciate the sacrifice that everybody has made to make this come about. Thank you.
Director Newcomer?
I'd like to thank the chief's staff. I spent about a half a day here Tuesday in the administration building. I'd like to thank him for all of the staff time that I took up that morning. And I would like to thank all of our employees for the work that they do and congratulate all those that received the peer recognition and the other awards that we were made aware of tonight.
Thank you, Director Newcomer. Director Scheidegger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I, too, would like to recognize the chief and staff for the fine work and the movement that we're showing the community in terms of structuring this contract, and I wish you the very best, sir. Glad you're here. One other thing, I really enjoyed meeting Layla tonight, and as Director Gould mentioned, I think we need to take this time to recognize our staff and the sacrifice they make to make a Layla work. I know that firefighter Thomas is not the only one. I can't recall the other names, but we need to be, the community needs to be very mindful of the resource that these people bring in terms of their protection and the sacrifice they make to make those resources work. So thank you very much to all those people who are doing that.
Oh. Director Clark?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I also would like to congratulate firefighter Kyle Thomas and Layla. Layla is so cute. Every time you see a dog like that, it just pulls on your heartstrings. And I like to congratulate them on their National Disaster Searched Off certification. Also, thank staff and all the employees of this district. We are so fortunate to have such a talented group of people in the service of this community. I want to thank you, as you know, I can't thank you enough for the hard work you do day in and day out. And also, finally, it's funny that Saturday, I have about 3 different things to do. I got an executive meeting at my job. I got, oh my gosh, a crab feed. So I don't know how I'm probably gonna try to work in guns and hoses during that day. So we'll see what we'll do. You know what I can do, but it's just a busy day. But I'll make every effort to get out there and support the guys. Thank you.
Director Pearson?
Yeah, this past week I had the opportunity to sit in on a board with the State Fire Marshal and some others, and we put somebody through the same process that our former director Granados went through for his fire chief certification. And I was impressed with the candidate, and I would impressed with the opportunity too to see what is going on out there with the different chiefs, and I would encourage our chief to sometime go through that. I think he would benefit from it, and I think we could all benefit from it too. I think it's a worthwhile thing to get that certification. I also wanted to point out, I know everyone has said great things about our staff, and they are talented, and they are doing wonderful projects. There's no doubt about that. But what impresses me most, because I think you talk to just about any fire department or any organization, they're going to tell you that they have great staff and they have great employees. You know, they're going to brag about them, and not take our staff is. But what impresses me is you read the papers, and you got one group saying that it's the 1% fault. You know, it's those guys at the top that are destroying the country. And you got another group saying it's the labor unions, and the unions are just destroying this country, and they're making it impossible for business to continue. And here we have in our organization, I think, a great example of the way it should be, and that is management's not beating up on labor and labor's not beating up on management, but they're working together. And it's amazing what we've been able to accomplish. I mean, I think we kind of get pulled into the sense that this is just normal everyday occurrence, that you have the union representative come up here and say that he supports the chief's contract and supports the chief and the senior staff. Unheard of. I mean, we're very fortunate here, and that's something that we should point out. And then you have the fire chief singing the praises of the union, announcing that the volunteer efforts that the union is doing on their time off. And unheard of. I think that's what sets Sac Metro apart from everywhere else. And I would like to sometime do something to recognize our labor, recognize our senior staff, and that cooperative effort that they have. I don't know what it would entail, but I think it'd be important for us to just make some sort of a statement saying that we're different than everyone else. And look what happens when you are different, and it's a good thing, not a bad thing. I mean, labor right now, you read the papers, I mean, you guys all read the papers, is almost a dirty word to some people. And I think we can show that it's not such a dirty word if used properly. So I just wanted to say that, and I appreciate our staff and our labor and what you're doing together. And I would encourage you to continue, and in whatever way I can help facilitate this to continue, I will. I will stand there beside labor and our management to do that. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Pearson. Thank you very much. All right. I would like to thank Roger Mitchell for his continuing support and participation with all the Metro activities and establishing a very important link with the Rio Linda community. Thank you very much. To Layla and Tyler and all the rescue dog family. It's a heck of an operation. It's 24/7, like Kyle mentioned. It's 24/7 that's at work and on duty and expected to respond. Congratulations to all the employees for the employee awards. Well done. The list was very, very impressive. And thank you, Chief, for continuing that spirit. And I would like to also sincerely recognize the professionalism and the dedication to public service that our chief and senior staff have shown for the last many, many months in terms of moving this district forward, for restructuring, for resetting our priorities, our service goals, to make us the best emergency response agency in the area. The professionalism and dedication to public service is what it's all about. Thank you very much. With that, I would like to close the meeting in honor of John Willie Hopkins, Jr. Silence for a moment, please. All rise. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.